Ladies and gentlemen, cycling fans and bottle-throwing nincompoops, welcome to today's expose on a tale so riveting, so utterly mind-blowing, so hydrated that it could only come from the dramatic world of pro cycling. This is a story of how one man, one bottle, and one world-class cyclist collided in the most literal way imaginable. Yes, we're talking about the now infamous bottle incident at the 2025 Paris-Roubaix race, where Dutch cycling sensation Mathieu van der Poel, future Netflix doco-series subject and part-time bottle magnate, became the unintended target of a projectile water bottle. Spoiler alert, it wasn't filled with goodwill. Picture it. The cobblestones are rumbling, the sweat is glistening, and the lycra is tight. So tight, it violates several modesty laws in at least 12 countries. Van der Poel was flying down the path like a caffeinated falcon, when suddenly, bam, an object so shocking, so unexpected, so bottled, flies from the crowd and strikes his bike. Now you'd think that with modern fan etiquette and the sheer number of cameras around nowadays, this sort of Neanderthal-level nonsense would be extinct. But no, in an act that screamed both, quote, "I've had too many beers," and, quote, "I failed physics in high school," a 28-year-old Belgian man from Ware Gem decided to express his enthusiasm, or disdain, who knows, by chucking a full bottle of water at Van der Poel. Full, not empty, not a squeeze bottle. This was the cycling equivalent of a medieval siege weapon. Quote, "I picked it up and threw it as he passed by, without thinking. After half a second, I realised how stupid and dangerous it was." Ah yes, the after half a second epiphany. We've all been there. Who hasn't assaulted a world champion cyclist on international television and then thought, in hindsight, maybe that was ill-advised. A classic tale of introspection. Shakespeare could never. Now, this bottle-tossing genius, after what we can only assume was either a hangover-fueled concussion or a barrage of angry DMs, actually decided to hand himself in to the police. The Belgian authorities must have thought they were being punked. Quote, "You did what with a bottle? To who? At where?" And what's worse, this thing happened during the race. Not after, not before, during. Which begs the question, was this man trying to audition for the role of public enemy number one of Belgium cycling fans? Because if so, bravo. 10 out of 10 gold medal in public stupidity. Quote, "I honestly think that was attempted manslaughter," Mathieu van der Poel commented. Strong words. Not, quote, "an unfortunate incident," not, quote, "a fan went too far," not even, quote, "I'll see you in court." Nope, attempted manslaughter. Now, I hear what you're saying. Come on, it's just a water bottle. To which I respond, yes, and the Titanic was just a boat. Let's talk punishments. You might assume that throwing a blunt object at a moving cyclist during an international race might land someone in, say, jail, or at the very least the Guinness Book of World Records under most idiotic sporting moments. But no. Instead, our remorseful hero gets investigated for, quote, "deliberate assault," and the UCI issues a strongly worded statement that essentially says, "Oh, we're so disappointed." Oh, the horror. A strongly worded statement. I bet he's shaking in his beer-stained hoodie. Quote, "We condemn this type of behaviour in the strongest possible terms." Translation, "Please stop making us look bad on telly. Also, please stop hurling stuff at the cyclists. It makes them go off course and it ruins the data." Now let's pause and reflect on the real victim here. Not Van der Poel, he won anyway. The real victim is common sense. It died that day on the cobblestones of France. Because, let's face it, a slap on the wrist isn't enough for someone who weaponizes water bottles. No, no, no. This man deserves theoretical punishment. Number 1. The reverse Tour de France, make him ride all the stages backwards on a unicycle in Crocs. Number 2, public hydration education, a mandatory 12-week course titled Bottles Are Not Boomerangs. Number 3, community service at a bike shop, but only changing punctured tyres during Belgian winters. Number 4, personal butler to Van der Poel for a whole year. Every time Van der Poel asks for a bottle, our hero must hand it to him gently, lovingly, and without aiming for his face. Number 5, tattoo on his forehead saying, quote, "Do not give me bottles." Instead, the man got to say sorry, and isn't that heartwarming? "I'm sorry" has become the go-to escape hatch for doing utterly deranged things in public. Sorry I threw a bottle. Sorry I tackled the mascot. Sorry I entered the field dressed as a banana. Look, I get it. The sports fans are passionate. The lines blur, alcohol is consumed, and some of the people spectating haven't got a clue about any of the riders. They're just there for the vibes. But the second your support for a team or athlete turns into projectile assault, you might need to take a long, hard look in the mirror, preferably before your next trip to Decathlon. And what of Mathieu van der Poel, the man who, in spite of being attacked, went on to win his 3rd consecutive Paris-Roubaix title? Truly, the guy is made of steel, or at least something bottle resistant. He didn't crash, he didn't quit, he didn't even throw the bottle back. That's restraint. If it had been me, I'd have made that bottle the first entry in my post-race autobiography. Quote, "Things I survived, 1, gravity, 2, lycra, and 3, a flying bottle in France." So let's wrap this up. A man threw a bottle, a cyclist got hit, Twitter exploded, the man apologized, and the sport carried on. But let this be a lesson to us all. If you're going to be part of sports history, maybe aim for a highlight reel, not a police report. And to our bottle-flinging anti-hero, thank you for reminding us that no matter how fast the sport, how elite the athletes, and how global the broadcast, there's always someone out there dumb enough to turn their beer buzz into a criminal record. This has been a very interesting deep dive into hydration-based hooliganism. Until next time, stay safe, stay sarcastic, and for the love of Eddie Merckx, keep your damn bottles to yourself.